Hello and welcome, it's Adam from betterproposals.io here, and we are back with season 3 of Proposal Breakdown. Now in today's episode we are looking at Sway. This is an online software as a service solution for the medical profession to help them manage and onboard patients and things like that. So they're using this in a slightly different way. They are Better Proposals customers. But they're using this in a slightly different way in the sense that they're not selling a service, they're using it to onboard people onto a trial. So let's kick things off then. They have done an incredibly good job of this. So there's very little wrong here, but they've done some really, really cool things. And I want to call some of those things out because they set a really, really good tone. So the first thing you see is a really, really, really quick, snappy statement. And it sets the tone for the whole proposal. So I'll read it to you. It says, Sway helps your practice grow by engaging, qualifying, and converting patients. Straight away, if you are, a dentist or, I don't know, whatever, chiropractor or something to that effect, you're going to read this and immediately that is just going to cut through the noise and tell you exactly what you're going to get. So they've done a really, really, really good job here. I've been to their website. This is completely on brand. They've used their blue. They've used their sort of turquoisey green. It looks like they built this completely themselves, which is really cool. So if you move further down their introduction, they've got a little bit of information about the client. Now, the only tiny little thing I would point out here is that it's a little bit legal in the sense that they do the whole bit where they're saying, like, we're going to later on refer to them as the client instead of just putting their name. So if you're using Better Proposals, you can just do the merge tag. So you can just do sort of the squiggly opening brackets, 2 of those, company underscore name, and then close the squiggly brackets off. And then wherever you put that in your proposal, it's going to replace it with the company name. So they could definitely do that. Now, one thing I really, really, really like here is Kevin, the CEO of Sway, has got his graphics team, or maybe it's himself, I don't know, to make these little sort of call out graphics, and he's put them in the proposal to guide them through the process, which is really cool. So at the bottom here it says, keep reading to learn how Sway can help you grow your practice. Super simple, but it just guides them through the process, and that sits right above the back and forward buttons on the proposal. So moving on, they've got a page here for like a table of contents, so it explains what's in it. I don't think they need this at all. Mainly because it's literally all listed on the left-hand side and you can click on it and just jump straight through to it. So personally, I don't think they need this page at all. This can literally go, it doesn't really add any value at all, and just tells them what they already at this point know. So that could probably go without any issue at all. Another thing they've done that's really cool here, and it's a subtle little thing, and I don't know if they've thought about this, but they've got in total here, an introduction, contents, triage software, marketing services, expected results, onboarding process, order form, terms and conditions, and HIPAA compliance. I was supposed to count those and I didn't. I don't know, it's like 9 pages. And what's quite clever here is they've just listed 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 in the middle. So that's triage software, marketing services, expected results, onboarding, and order form. So that actually is quite cool because you've got these 2 pages above and below, and it makes the whole thing look super readable. Even though there's 9 pages in there, it looks like there's only 5, which is quite clever. So that's really good. So jump into triage software. So what's really cool about this, I'm not going to get too involved in what they're actually selling here because I don't even think it's particularly relevant. But the way that they've brought in graphics from their own website to explain how this whole thing works is really smart. So it's almost working like it's a landing page, which is different. You wouldn't necessarily do this, and it might not apply to every business. But yeah, they've got these really, really smart graphics in here, which just add a really nice element of professionalism. And I think looking across a range of proposals that I look across, there's not anywhere near enough graphical anything in these things at all. So there's one thing that you could absolutely take away from this, is get more graphics and imagery in there. So they've got some good information. They've broken things up really nicely, dividers, lots of white space. They're giving the elements in the proposal room to breathe, which is really good. And then, more of these sort of little quotes, sort of click below to learn about our marketing services, which is really cool. And it guides you through the process. So they're talking about Google AdWords, Facebook marketing, different things they're going to do. So most of these pages are fairly similar. They're just explaining the different process. So that's all really good. They've explained the time that it's going to take to get set up and everything else, which is really, really smart as well. Time to value. This is really cool. 10 to 20 days. Once we've captured your information, we can set up, review, and launch your instance of Sway in 10 to 20 days. It's something that people don't really do enough of. Take the bits that people don't know and tell them. The things that they actually want to know. And when somebody's reading a proposal, they want to know things like, how long is it going to take me to get the thing that I actually want? How long is it going to take me to get that lead? How long is it going to take me to get my new website launched? How long is it going to take me to get my software set up? They're the questions that they want to know. So try and be really succinct and clear with that kind of information. So moving on, order form. I don't know, maybe this has got some sort of context to it that I'm sort of not fully aware of because I'm not in the medical profession and I don't understand it. But order form to me sounds like the wrong kind of word. I mean, this is actually basically sort of start the trial. You're choosing an option and you're starting a trial or agreeing to get set up on the trial. So I would maybe replace order form to start trial because it's probably a little bit more direct. But they've got some stuff that they've either made custom or sort of copied off their website here, which is allowing them to choose different options. So they've created this graphic which gives them two different options. So it's the Sway software and then the marketing services, which are optional. And then they have added these two options to the signature block. So when somebody signs, they can choose which option they want. And what's really cool here as well, this is just a really, really good example of trying to just think about the emotional state or the questions that somebody might have when they're actually reading this thing. And one thing that they're potentially looking at when they're just about to sign this thing, when it's a trial, is what the hell am I actually committing to? So Kevin nips this right in the bud and says this: e-signing this document does not tie you to any monetary obligations. It simply establishes terms around product usage and the Sway trial. Depending on how you proceed, your first month will occur at the end of the post-pilot month using Sway. So he's completely diffused the whole situation, that you're not really committing to anything, it's just a process. And that's really, really cool. So try and address these things. You don't have to sort of make a big graphic out of it or anything like that. I think it's super cool, and if you can do that, you definitely should, because it looks really smart. But yeah, that's a really good way of addressing something that potentially the client is looking at. That's worked out really well. And then the last two pages are terms of service and HIPAA compliance. I think it's HIPAA. That's another really, really good thing. The terms of service is long and boring, but it's really great that they've got that in there completely, which is perfect. And then the compliance thing is excellent because that's something that's going to be, I mean, everything in the medical profession, and I think this is a US thing, but everything in the medical profession needs to have this HIPAA compliance thing. So, the fact that they're just sort of straight up front about that, and they say, look, this is how we sort of approach the compliance or whatever it is. Again, that's approaching this whole thing with the idea of what is this person thinking, what are their concerns going to be, and how can I address them going forward. So there's literally nothing wrong with this. We've started off with an absolute banger here. They've done an absolutely insanely brilliant job, and I suspect this is going to work out incredibly well for them. So I hope that's helped. Try and take some of these ideas and roll them into your own proposals, and stay tuned for the next episode.